Today, emotional paralysis. That's what I want to talk about. So, what do you do when you can technically function, but you can't seem to move forward? I think a lot of people know that feeling. It's you're not collapsed on the floor. You're not incapable of answering a text. You're able to make a cup of coffee. You can move your body and you can get through the day. Just the basics, and you can keep a plan alive. So, bonus. But your life, that's stuck. That feels stuck. See, so that's the thing I want to talk about. I mean, not as a dramatic personal confession, as a pattern, because I recognized it in myself recently. And once I saw it, I started noticing how common it is in the public and the people I know, my circle of influence, my friends. A lot of us are functioning, producing, answering I'm fine with a suspicious efficiency, obviously. I mean, very suspicious. But underneath all of that, we're not always living. Sometimes we're managing, enduring, and negotiating, trying to outrun the part of us that knows something has to change. And that's what I mean by emotional paralysis. And look, I want to be clear. I'm not telling you this because my life is fascinating. Please, absolutely. Nobody needs that much of me. I'm telling you this because personal stories are only useful when they can help someone make their way through something that's equally or relatably difficult. The details of my story are mine, sure, but the pattern might be yours. And if it is, this maybe gives you the language to deal with it, to speak with it, because language helps. Once you can name something, it becomes less foggy, a little less mysterious, a little less like your entire personality has just been replaced by like a buffering signal. That is not ideal. So let me just say this. The thing that cracked this open for me weirdly was Jimmy Carr. I know it sounds strange, but just bear with me. And I was watching an interview and he was asked a tiny little question. I mean, a small one, a starter question. Something we all probably get regularly. What's the meaning of life? That was the question. No biggie. Just a quick nod there. I'll figure that right out. A casual question. His answer floored me. The meaning of life, according to Jimmy Carr, was...
I'll do it in 5 words. Okay. Enjoying the passage of time. That's it. It's enjoying the passage of time.
Enjoying the passage of time. Damn you, Jimmy Carr, for putting that in my head. Really, it's not like you've done anything wrong, because you haven't. You're just the person who said the exact right thing at the exact wrong time to someone who needed to hear it most. Damn, that's hard cheese. Because, to be honest, and I don't mean this in any sad way, just an honesty way with you, my community, I honestly can't remember the last time I sincerely enjoyed the passage of time. I've never enjoyed a show or a meal or a conversation or time with friends. I mean something, deeper. Being inside a moment and feeling just okay to be there. Not rushing through it, not managing it, not waiting for the next problem or even thinking about the next problem. Just being alive, while the moment is happening. Just being alive. I don't remember the last time that my body said, this is a fulfilling experience. And I think that we all feel that occasionally. Maybe you've been busy, responsible, youthful, needed, productive, overachiever. Maybe you've kept everything moving for so long, you didn't notice you were really inside your own life anymore. You just weren't there. You were managing it. You were tracking it, of course, surviving it, but not really experiencing it. That's a scary thought, isn't it? Yes. Yes, it is. The answer is yes. And that's the odd thing to notice. Not necessarily tragic, just odd and uncomfortable. Like realizing you've been driving for 20 minutes with the parking brake on. It's like, shit, I didn't notice that. Better turn that off. Yeah, let's turn that off. Because emotional paralysis is not failure. Sometimes it's just information. It's your body or the universe communicating to you in a way that you're physically able to compute. Now, admittedly, the information isn't always accurate, not always polite. Anxiety has historically been a terrible narrator. It's basically a raccoon with a megaphone inside your brain, causing like craziness to happen. That's a thought. It might be telling you that something has become impossible to carry the old way, It might be telling you that you're confused, you're surviving, not living. It might be telling you that you've been measuring your own worth against a version of life that may not exist anymore, that may not be even applicable to you anymore. It might simply be telling you that your system is overloaded. Like, you're not broken, you're overloaded. Those two are very, very different. I can say that for me, the trigger was failure. I mean, not one failure, not one mistake, dozens. More like a pile of mistakes that now form a basis of evidence that I use to frame my internal picture of myself. I mean, that's the best way to put it. See, in my brain, it's turned every situation into a legal case, failure as an identity, failure as proof, and somehow I'm always guilty. But your version might not be failure. It might be money, work, or a relationship. A body that doesn't feel like it's cooperating doesn't feel right on the inside either. It's all different evidence. Same argument. Look at where you are. Look at what's happened. Look at who you were supposed to be by now, and look who you're not. Look what you meant to do. Look what you promised to do. Look what you haven't done. I mean, that voice in your head, it doesn't just remind you of what went wrong. It starts conveying a message to you and convincing you that what went wrong is who you are. Not anything you did, but who you are. And that's the dangerous part, because your brain can start treating those things like a verdict, going back to the courtroom in our brain. And that verdict can freeze you. I'm sure many of you feel stuck, and you don't have to. We're responding to evidence that is manufactured at best, incorrect, or downright wrong at worst. This is why emotional paralysis can be hard to spot, because it doesn't always look like a collapse. Sometimes it looks like functioning, making jokes, answering messages with no worries, everything's cool, zero problem, all okay, 10-4, yup. All of those. While absolutely we're worrying, not small worrying, I mean professional worrying, Olympic-sized worrying. That's what we're doing. We're looking from the outside while privately knowing something inside you is running out of road. And maybe that's what happens to a lot of us. We build a life. Maybe we inherit one. We fall into a life. And for a while it works well enough. Our desire for more is met. And that's where the new truth comes in, the new realization. And once you know something has to change, you can't unknow that. You can't just shove it to the back of the shelf, or into the junk drawer, or to the back of your closet next to the shoes that don't fit you anymore, and the dresses that you hope to fit into next season. What do you do then? The old version of you doesn't fit your life anymore. Who you were is no longer who you are. The new one, the new you, hasn't shown up yet. So you're stuck in the middle. The old life doesn't work, but the new one isn't built yet. It's being stuck, it's being locked down. The old life doesn't work, the new life isn't built, and you're standing there thinking, great. Love this. Love it. Very clear. Excellent signage. I know exactly what to do next. I know exactly where I'm going. And yes, that is sarcasm. I'm sorry, but it is sarcasm. But maybe the goal isn't to get back to who you were. Maybe the goal is to ask whether the version of you that you were was actually even okay at the time, or whether they were just really good at coping. Maybe you forget that. Maybe you forget what it felt like back then. We look back on it with affinity and sometimes loss. But what we might forget is that we may actually have been struggling just the same way that we're struggling now. Just better at coping with it because maybe we were younger and probably a little more liquid, if you know what I mean. Maybe the point isn't to recover the old life. Maybe the point is to build a new one. A life that doesn't require you to abandon yourself just to survive it. Think about it. So, here's the clean definition. Emotional paralysis happens when your system is overloaded, when it can't take any more. And even basic moving feels harder than it should. It doesn't mean you're lazy, and it doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that your nervous system has quietly pulled the emergency brake. Your nervous system is saying, whoa, okay, whoa, please let me out. But moving forward, regardless, feels just strangely impossible, Herculean. So what do you do with that? I mean, not in a huge life makeover kind of way, not in a become your highest self by Tuesday sort of way. I mean, please, nobody needs that kind of pressure. Nobody. While emotionally, you're face down on the carpet. How do you create one small piece of motion? How do you give your brain new evidence to contradict the old evidence that you've allowed to build up inside your brain. I'll tell you what, I don't know for sure. I'm not a doctor. I am struggling with this. I'm fighting my way through it with you. I'm down at the bottom looking up, shit, how do I get back up there? So I have no answers. All I can tell you is for myself, these practical steps have been helpful. Step 1, interrupt the freeze. When you feel emotionally paralyzed, your job isn't to save your entire life. That's too big. You can't wrap your head around that. That's a plane into a tower. It's too big. It's too tragic. And when your system is overloaded, your brain is not exactly running on premium software. So don't start by trying to think your way out of it. Start with what it feels like. Do one small physical thing. Put your feet on the floor. Sit up. Stand up. Drink a glass of water. Open a window. Step outside for 2 minutes. Stand in the sun. Take a shower. Walk to the end of the street and back. Walk your dog. Clean up after your dog. Nothing heroic. Nothing impressive. Although, some days, not unimpressive either, to be honest. I mean, the truth is, you're not training for a montage. You're giving your body one tiny signal that says, we're not trapped inside this feeling. That's what this step does. It doesn't solve the problem. It creates a little space between you and the panic. And sometimes that's the first win. Not the big win, but the first win. Not the life-changing win, again, the first one. It's an important one. All the other wins build on the back of that first win. So step 2, name the truth. Be honest with yourself. Once you've interrupted the freeze, try to name what's actually happening. I mean, not dramatically and not poetically, not with courtroom transcript level of authenticity or accuracy. Just one honest sentence, and that's it. Because when everything stays vague, it feels endless, which equals stuck, paralysis. However, vague dread is very persuasive. It says things like, everything is wrong, you've ruined everything, you're never, ever getting out of this. Very chill, very balanced, wildly unhelpful. But when you can name the truth clearly, you give feeling edges, right? You give that feeling something that defines it. You turn the fog into something that you can look at, something you can see, maybe touch. That's the power you have by naming something, by giving it boundaries. So instead of saying my life is a disaster, try something more specific. Like, I'm scared, I'm stuck, I'm overwhelmed, I'm grieving the life I thought I would have. I don't know what to do next. Imagine that. I need help. I'm a hypocrite, by the way. I have the hardest time with these things. I have been working on them, which is why I'm sharing this with you. Being able to ask for help, that's not weakness. It's clarity. Recognizing you need help is clarity. And clarity really matters because you can't work through a fog. If you can't see through it, you can't work through it. You can't find a solution. Here again, stuck. Okay, so step 3, take one visible action. This is where you can do one thing that proves you're still participating in your own life. I mean, not a perfect thing. Not the action that fixes your career or your finances or your relationships and won't fix your inbox at 4:30 in the morning when you're laying there thinking about what emails are waiting for you. But if you take one visible action, something you can point at and say, I did that, check that off the list. I've done that. That's done, right? That's power. It could be sending the message, making the appointment, washing a dish, writing a paragraph, paying one bill, putting away one pile, changing your clothes, going outside, asking someone for help. Help. Again, making the list itself. Not finishing the list, just making it, starting it. That's an action. That's something you can point to and say, I did that today. I've done something. That kind of positivity, that kind of action compounds. It builds upon itself, starts to breed success because it's building on your framework. The point is not the size of the action. The point is the evidence. You need to give it different evidence. Small evidence, almost embarrassingly small evidence that says, I moved. I'm not okay yet, but I acted. I don't know the whole way forward, but I did take a first step. So much power in that. And that's what this step does. It gives you hope, an opportunity to prove motion, action, responsibility, something you can claim as your own. And proof of motion matters because momentum doesn't always start with confidence. Sometimes confidence comes later, after the movement, after one tiny decision. That's when it says, hey, I'm confident and I'm still here. I'm so happy to meet you. I'm still here. So that's it. Interrupt the freeze. Name the truth, take one visible action. That's something important to remember as we all struggle our way out of the hole. There's a way out. Really, all you need, I think, if you can muster it, and I'm not saying all you need as if it's nothing, because it isn't. It's a huge thing. Is just enough strength to stand up, enough to move, to try again, not to win. You don't have to succeed, but you should try, right? If you can find enough strength to try again, and that's all you have today, geez, that still counts. A small step counts. A sentence counts. A shower counts. A breath counts. Not because it fixes everything. That's not the point. Because it improves your sense of self and it proves to the world you're still here. That's what I want this channel to be about. It's definitely not about perfection. Not polished answers from a mountaintop. Not pretending life is easy. If you just buy the right planner and drink enough water, although honestly, drink some water. It's good for you. I want to talk about the messy middle. The sticky parts where you know something has to change, but you're still figuring out how and maybe even what has to change. All of these things are possible. Every person is going to be in a different position. Maybe the first challenge is this. Stop calling it failure. When your spirit refuses doing the heavy lifting that was never sustainable to begin with, maybe that's not failure. Maybe the meaning of life, or at least happiness, does have something to do with enjoying the passage of time. But maybe the first step back is admitting that you haven't been. Again, damn you, Jimmy Carr. I wouldn't be thinking about any of this if it wasn't for you, but honestly, Mr. Carr, thank you. If any of this felt familiar, I'd love to hear from you. Maybe this is the kind of thing we can figure out better together. I'm looking for solutions myself. I'm just rebuilding my life after another gigantic burn down. Burn it down, build it up. Burn it down, build it up. And I'm sort of in that cycle. And we'll talk about that at some point. Burning it down? What the hell? What did she possibly do to burn down her life? More than once, maybe more than twice. Now I want to rebuild. And part of that journey is me reaching out to the world, to reaching out to all of you to say, how do we do it? How do we rebuild when our foundations feel cracked? I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Leave some ideas or thoughts in the comments section below. We can fix it together. Okay, so subscribe. Watch out for the next video. It's coming soon. I appreciate you all. I'll see you soon.
Woke up with the dust in my throat again. Another town, another sin. This road's the only home I've known. Singing out this weary soul.